I want to talk about Taylor Swift because having been fired from The View, my staff thought I wouldn't care about this story, but I care about it a lot. Taylor Swift is I think she is her generation's Oprah in that which she lays her hands on, because she's so reluctant to do so, usually does make a difference among her peers. But this, once again, requires young people to go out and do something they don't often do: vote. What do you think of the Taylor Swift, not just the getting involved, but the decision to sort of forego? I mean, it's a risky move for an entertainer to step into politics at her age, at her stage in her career.
It's incredibly impactful, and she did it on Instagram, which is interesting. She's got a huge built-in audience, and also she had become, in certain parts of the right web, kind of an icon for kind of what they thought were their values. So here she goes, getting behind Democrats. And by the way,
let's read it. Let me put it. I thought we put it up there. In the past, this is Taylor Swift writing. In the past, I've been reluctant to publicly voice my political opinions, but due to several events in my life and in the world in the past 2 years, I feel very differently about that now. I cannot vote for someone who will not be willing to fight for dignity for all Americans, no matter their skin color, gender, or who they love. I cannot support Marsha Blackburn. Her voting record in Congress appalls and terrifies me.
And by the way, she's getting involved in a race that isn't one of the big hot races that young people are paying attention to. It isn't Beto, right? It's like this is a more obscure candidate she's getting behind. So it also brings some granularity to
this. Is the Bredesen race. I mean, he's the former governor of Tennessee, who incidentally did not come out against Kavanaugh, which for me means that if the Democrats want to win, it's great. They're going to win a lot of congressional seats in the Northeast and in California and in places like Northern Virginia. If they want to win some additional congressional seats in places like Tennessee and Iowa, where they have real shots, if they want to win a Senate seat in Tennessee, they really do need to get some men, some votes of men as well as women, and some votes that are based on men who, frankly, don't care as much as they should, perhaps, honestly, about these kinds of issues, but who are reachable on health care, on economics, on, I think, some of the immigration issues, on the sense that we need someone to check Trump in the White House. I mean, I just think a more traditional Democratic message actually needs to be part of it. It can't just be anger about Kavanaugh.
T. Swift endorsing Bredesen right now is important, in part because he didn't get on the anti-Kavanaugh bandwagon. And so that's something that very possibly could have alienated some of these young female voters who Taylor Swift has the most influence over. The fact that she came out in support of a man who had an opinion on the biggest issue of the month, and an opinion that differed from where the vast majority of the Democratic Party is at, is significant. Another part of this that's significant is Republicans for years have thought that Taylor Swift was a crypto conservative and she just didn't want to go public.
They have indeed. I can attest that.
Well, she could be a crypto conservative, but a lot of crypto conservatives are voting Democratic this November.
Exactly, and urging others to do the same. Phil Rucker, Donald Trump loves a smackdown with a celebrity. Any talk about trying to get him to hold his fire on Taylor Swift?
That's a great question. I don't know. I suspect he's well aware of the Instagram post. I can't imagine his advisors at the White House would like for him to weigh in. But as we said earlier, he's got a number of these Make America Great Again campaign rallies this week. And we know when he gets in front of those crowds, he can go off the script, so to speak. So I would not be surprised if he were to pop off about her at some point.
I would bet my last dollar that he is better briefed on Taylor Swift's endorsement than today's PDB.